Looks promising, right?
It does.
We're live? All right, just a quick check. Dave, you can hear us?
Yes, I can.
And Laura, you can hear us?
I can, thank you.
All right, perfect. It is Monday, February 16th. It's 5 o'clock. I'll call the regular session of the Somerset School Board meeting to order. If you can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jessica, when you're ready, can you take roll call, please?
Yep. Steve Degelow,
Here.
Corey Miller, Ian McDonald,
Here.
Lori Belargin,
Here,
Bruce Belargin,
Here.
Danny Erickson, here, Matt Fupel.
Here. I'll just note that Corey Miller, he will be walking in here in just a minute or two. He's just going to be a minute late, so we'll note the time that he arrives when he comes in. The district mission, core values, protocol reminders are all listed on the agenda. Please take a minute to review them, and when someone is ready, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Bruce, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2 is public comment. Anybody in the audience want to give public comment tonight? Nope, I received no email requests. Dr. Grambo, did you?
I did not.
All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 3. This is the Spartan Spotlight. Dr. Grambo, I will turn it to you to start.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so tonight we have Brandon Berry in to talk about our virtual learning program. Brandon coordinates that along with his other responsibilities and does an outstanding job. There's, when we look at virtual learning, Brandon exemplifies exactly what we want the program to demonstrate. So his personal characteristics, he's very flexible. That's what we want. We need flexible learning for our kids. That gives them more options. And he's adaptable, and he is looking for ways to continue to improve the program. I appreciate that greatly about him. So tonight he's going to share a little bit about a little bit of the history of the program and the current status, and then a little hint to what we'll look to do in the future. Virtual learning is complicated, and it certainly is, it's subject to continuous improvement. We want to continue to look at ways we can improve and become more flexible, and Brandon is just the one to do that, so I will turn it over to him.
Awesome. Let me just pause it real quick. Jessica, can you just note Corey's here?
Yep.
Perfect, excellent. And then, are you able to turn that camera so we can see the screen and
Oh, yep.
Brandon?
Good. Thanks, Dave.
Give me 1 second. And then, do we want to minimize that Google Meet?
Do you know how to do that,
Most of it,
Brandon?
Just so it's off your, the Google Meet, can we minimize that by chance?
I'm not sure.
Just to your presentation?
Another
I
part
tried
of
to.
my
Yes, I tried to, and couldn't figure it out. we
There,
go.
and then we'll put it back
Yeah.
after. Excellent.
Okay.
Thanks.
Perfect. You can skip to the next one too. Thank you. Awesome. So virtual learning program, I'm Brandon Berry. I have been running our program for the last, this is the 6th year? Yeah, 6th year now. Jess, you can do the next one, it'll be great, thanks.
Excuse me, before you continue anymore, Jesse, can you move the camera so we can see Brandon and whatever is up on the smartboard?
Ooh.
Did it not move?
Yeah, the cameras move, but you're looking at the camera in the room, that one.
So I should log into virtual?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe log into YouTube as well, then
Oh,
you can
wait.
watch it.
Is that not moved?
Because we can't link those, right?
I wonder if I can share my screen to,
Well, that's super weird.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Pull that box where their pictures are, up, back up.
with the pictures.
Down in the bottom right corner. Pull that back up.
Let's see what happens.
And then you should be able to share, yep, right there you go. Right to the left, I think.
Oh, it's one of those.
This bottom, very, very bottom.
Yeah, right there.
This.
Sorry, I
Yeah, you're
am
fine.
a
You're good.
mouse-
You're all good.
I'm a mouse person.
Right smack in the middle. Other.
Should,
Which one?
it's the one, yep, the one with the arrow on it. but I don't know which.
It should be that one,
That
yeah.
one work?
Should be that one?
That one should work. Perfect, right there. Just hit the
This one?
template. No, hit the template one. There you go. Share.
Lori, you able to see that?
I can, thank you.
Excellent.
Awesome. All right, so just quickly, these are the strategic plan, what do I even call them? The action items, or not the action items, but the parts of the strategic plan that were linked to our program. So this is what we kind of like link back to of how to make our program work within the Somerset School District. You can read those. So just a little overview of what we are currently. We are a 612 program. Reason being is because K-5 has a little more parent involvement to it. When we did this back in 2020, 2021, we realized there's a whole bunch of aspects of that make it a little bit harder to facilitate a virtual program for the K-5. So we decided to go to a 612 program. We're extension of our in-person school, so we're not a charter school. If you talk about most of the schools virtually around us, they are all, or almost all, charter schools. So they're separate technically from their school district schools, but we are a program. Now that comes into play, and I'll talk about that more in just a second. We're asynchronous program, meaning the kids can log on and they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. That does present some challenges, but it's really nice and flexible for our students because they can go on, say, and do their work on the weekends. They can do it at nights. They don't have to be there 8 to 3:30 and do the work during that time. We're aligned to the district calendar, so when students here have days off, virtual kids have days off as well. Only problem is when the in-person school kids get snow days. Sorry, virtual kids, you don't get snow days. But we have a flexible entry and exit, meaning that students can join the program whenever they choose during the semester, except for the last 20 days of the semester. It's about a 4-week window there that we don't want them moving in and out, just to have some continuity within their learning. It's kind of tough if you're trying to get something done within the last 4 weeks of the semester and make that work either in or out. Expectation is that students remain in the program for at least a semester. That is the expectation. That's not always the case. Obviously, if a student wants to come back from our virtual program, we're not going to deny them that for that whole semester. If they feel that that's not their thing, they can come back in anytime during that semester. Entry is the same way. We can go anytime. Grades and progress expectations. This is one where it differs. We differ a lot from the virtual schools around us because we hold them progress expectations, meaning if they are not on pace, the students will be brought back into our in-person schools. Okay. That's a lot different. We've noticed we can get schools or students back from other virtual programs and they are missing credits, meaning they didn't finish up their virtual program from that one and they're behind, say, could be anywhere from 2 to 3 credits behind for graduation. And it's a really big burden on us when they do come back. And it's a burden on them because they didn't get that learning, so now we have to make it up. But instead, what we'll do is we'll have those expectations. If they're not being met, we'll bring them back. It could be anywhere from the first month of the school year to maybe halfway through, or first month of the semester to the halfway through. We usually try to have them stick it out. If they get close to the end and they start falling behind, we've got ways and processes in place for that. Otherwise, most of our core courses especially are aligned to our Somerset courses, meaning the scope and sequence is pretty well aligned. Now that doesn't mean the activities are the same or anything like that, but the scope and sequence is there so that if a student does need to come back, they're not missing, there's no gaps in their learning. It's a lot of the core courses. The virtual courses have a ton more electives, so we do have to find some creative ways there if they had coming back, how we put them in electives here in school. Otherwise, Edgenuity is our program provider. That is something we've used for quite some time. We even used that prior to the program being established, and we've kind of used that in knowing because we knew what it was. A lot of it's the same. You'll get some other virtual programs that use something different, but a lot of it comes from the same kind of place, and it's really done the same way. The activities tend to be the same. There's not a whole lot of difference unless you get to another program that uses their own teachers, which I talk about in a minute, but other programs that use their own teachers and own curriculum that's actually built online, that's a little bit different. So like there's a couple others out there that are pretty similar. And then just second semester last year, we added our own teachers as the facilitators. Okay. So program highlights, we started in August of 2020, really with the COVID. We wanted to make a place for the kids to be able to go to and feel safe. So we started the program. We had 143 kids, I think, that first semester. So between August and the 1st of September, we started the whole program from scratch. So that was an undertaking in and of itself. We had some issues too because Edgenuity was overwhelmed by all of the schools trying to get in. And we had to then use our own teachers that first year to facilitate the Edgenuity courses. After that, so the first year, and you'll see I have a little bit of next slide that shows the enrollment history, but we went from 143 to 80 something, and then the second semester we accepted all applicants, so it wasn't like they had to, we would vet them to make sure this program was right for them. However, then 2021 until second semester last year, we were vetting the students to make sure it was going to be a successful thing for them. Okay? We didn't want them to come to the program and not find success in their education, so we had talked. Now, how that process worked was if a student from the high school came in, Trent and I would talk with the counselors and their teachers and kind of vet it. Now, would we give them the benefit of the doubt? Absolutely. Okay? We wanted them to find success, and we had processes in the back end, like I talked about before, that helped them either transition if they needed to, or we had some supports to help them get in, or to get to a better place in their progress. Like we'll bring them into school for a few days, and they'll work with us one-on-one in school to get back on pace in their courses. Then last semester, we decided to align our virtual courses to our Somerset courses. That took a lot of work to get done in the first semester, and we added our own teachers as facilitators. Now, facilitators doesn't mean they're creating the curriculum. They're still using the Edgenuity course curriculum, but our teachers are grading, our teachers are overseeing pace, our teachers are overseeing questions the students may have in the curriculum itself. This allowed much greater flexibility for student entry. So if we had a student coming in, say halfway through the semester before, we would split the course in half, we couldn't split the course in half, so we'd have to give them either the whole thing, or we'd have to split their semester depending. It started halfway through and then go to maybe through summer school was an option we had at one point. That was really hard because you couldn't do that first semester. Okay? You couldn't go into summer school because there was no summer school. They'd have to bleed into second semester, which didn't work out. So now I can split the course halfway through or a quarter of the way through and give that, say, month or two to them instead of them having to make up the entire course at a time. That's because the Edgenuity, when we used the Edgenuity teachers, they didn't allow us to do the half courses. Okay. Here's just some enrollment history. You can see 2020, 2021, we had a lot of kids during that COVID year. And then we went down, but now we've gone back up because of the greater flexibility where we can add students within the semester. Okay. And then some unique benefits is our grade check and progress and our weekly progress checks. A lot of schools do that, but they don't really hold anything to that. Whereas we will, if a student falls behind by a certain amount, we'll give the supports to come in and work with us. If they continue to fall behind, we'll ask them to come back into our regular schools. Our courses are aligned to especially all our core courses, meet the challenges of virtual learning. It is a challenge. I mean, even as adults, it's really hard for us to sit down and always learn something if we're not exactly motivated to do so. And then our AP, CIS, college in the school, start college now, and then college in the schools, band, choir, and school to work accommodations. So we'll allow students to take those either in person, or I know Kelly Emerson with School to Work. We have a couple students in that program as well as in our virtual program. But what we aren't allowing is for a kid to take maybe a chemistry class here and then the virtual class here. It's either kind of an all or nothing, and these are the only exceptions that we worked on. Because a lot of that can be inside or outside of our school, But our AP and our CIS courses, we want these students to still have that opportunity because of the unique benefits that those courses bring. Otherwise, vision, virtual and in-person, I am looking for our virtual and in-person courses to be one and the same. We kind of do something like this during the summer school classes, where a student would be in that course. They can learn asynchronously, but they're learning with their peers. So if a student comes in, they're getting the exact same information, the exact same activities, the exact same lessons as their peers in school. Reason being, I think it's better fidelity for all students involved. It allows a lot more flexibility even when what we have now, so we can transition in and out. We'd still have some rules where we wouldn't be going 2 weeks in and 2 weeks out, but it would be a good thing for both students and teachers. How would we do this? We'd have to increase staff, probably at least one staff per core course to facilitate the students that we would currently have. It would be like a half-time position. They teach in school, but they'd also then teach our virtual students. So, all right, that was a lot, way more than I thought it would be, but it is a big program that we started 6 years ago, and it's really evolved from where we first started till now, and I'm really kind of proud of where we've gone and the help I've gotten from the virtual teachers that we have in our school. Trent and Joe have been great, and Sarah when she was the principal of the middle school to help facilitate that as well. So, any questions?
Can you go back to the enrollment slide? That was really fast.
Yeah, that's just informational more than anything, but if you have questions on it, yeah, absolutely. Just hit the,
This should be linked too, right, on the agenda?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You should have that slide there if you.
Yep.
Any questions about it, Carl?
Not yet.
I have a question.
Yeah.
As far as like the teachers being in charge of the course overview, is that how you said it?
Yeah, facilitators, yep.
Is that on top of their other duties that they have, or is that like a part-time job?
That's actually a good question. Yep, something I didn't put in there. They are stipend for that, so per child, per semester, it's like $250 on top of what they already do. So their expectation is outside, and when they have probably lunch or anything like that, they can pop in and check, grade, unlock quizzes and tests and things like that. So.
Pros and cons to using the Edgenuity teachers versus our own?
The flexibility is the biggest one, because if we go to the Edgenuity teachers, they don't align to they won't align always to our semester. So if it doesn't happen to align, so a kid wanted to come in now, we'd have to start the course now, and the whole entire course would have to then be minus, what are we at, 4 weeks? It'd have to be minus 4 weeks, so you're looking at 12 weeks of a course instead of 16. So it makes it really hard on students. So if they started maybe in April, you'd have to make up an entire course in half the time. That was super tough for most of our kids, and it was something we discouraged because it was really tough to do.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So let's say a student from Osceola is interested in this program we have here at Somerset. Would they have to enroll in the school district then, right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yep, we allow them. So if a student, technically, I guess if a student was in Appleton, they could enroll in our school district and take our virtual courses.
Yeah. So then my next question was, so if they have to come back into the classroom, say they're not up to par, well, how would that work? If they were from out of town?
Yeah, so we've had students that are close would come in. We've had students, we haven't had anybody that far away. I mean, most of them were either in other, like New Richmond or Osceola or Hudson, have been transitioned to us. They'd either have to unenroll or come here. I mean, that would be really our only two options. for
So
that
how can
student.
you sell this program to bolster our enrollment? I mean, how is it set up to attract students from outside of our district?
It is in the sense that we do have kind of that progress check in there. We're not just allowing students to fail. It's something that I feel very strongly about, that I don't want a student to come into our program, spend an entire semester. It's not working out for them. We're not going to leave them out there to hang. We've had several kids come back to our district, and that's the case. And that's not fair to them, in my opinion. So that would be, we use a lot of the same curriculum as other virtual schools, but that's one where we're going to have the student's best interest at heart, not just our bottom line. So that would be my,
I was just curious how you get the word
Yeah,
out
Mike.
about it, or how you market something like this. I don't know, David, if you got thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought I would jump in because it's a very good question in terms of how a virtual program encourages enrollment. And really, there's two answers, and one, it's already doing that, in that when you look at enrollment, the first thing we need to do is stop open enrollment out. We need to decrease the number of students that are leaving. And as we see the numbers in the virtual program climb, we don't know definitively, but we do know that one of our big draws out of open enrollment is toward other virtual programs. So by having a program, that's the first step. The next step is to continually create a more flexible learning environment that is still manageable. That's sort of like, you could go completely flexible where kids are picking and choosing all sorts of different things. There have to be some parameters around it because there is an investment. If we wanted to open it up to full open enrollment we would need to create a charter school. That's a complex process. It's something we've talked about. It's certainly on the roadmap for things to discuss. We haven't decided that that's definitely going to be the route we're going to want to go, but it would open up more opportunity for open enrollment but it's challenging because of the history. There are some really strong programs in the region that have a long history of attracting a lot of kids through open enrollment and they're solid programs. What Brandon describes is super important. We don't want to lower the bar with our virtual program. We want to make sure that the level of rigor and the level of expectation is just as high. We're not going to change. If we go to a virtual charter school where kids can enroll and actually graduate from that school, it's still part of the Somerset Public School District, but it operates independently. We wouldn't change the graduation requirements. We want to make sure that any kid that graduates from Somerset has the same high expectations, and they and we can all be proud of what they've accomplished.
So David, are there unique courses that could be added to this? Obviously, we have to use our staff, right? But are there unique courses that could be added to this that would be attractive to students outside of the district?
I've got that one.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
we've got a ton of unique courses. There's a list, if you go to the virtual program website, we have a list of all the courses, and I can't tell you exactly the number, but it's, let's say, somewhere 40, 50 unique electives that we don't necessarily offer here at Somerset that the curriculum at Edgenuity offers. So, and then we have our teachers facilitate those courses here.
Okay.
That can get tricky too, because if we don't have a teacher that is licensed in that area, we haven't really run into that yet. If we didn't have that, we couldn't offer that, or we'd have to go with Edgenuity, which then there was a little bit of a wrinkle into all that too.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And that gets back to Corey's question, the advantage of having our teachers, not having our teachers. That's the one advantage of opening up more opportunities using teachers from other programs that are still Wisconsin licensed teachers. It opens up a lot more options that kids can take. The challenge is we have to pay more for that, obviously. If we're not just paying for the content, we're paying for that teacher to teach the class. So there's a fine line where we could attract some students, but we have to pay so much for the courses they take that the enrollment wouldn't be a net benefit. So there's a lot of planning that goes into finding that sweet spot for maximum benefit.
So is that saying, Dave, that the cost for an Edgenuity teacher is higher than if we pay ours, whatever our typical rate is to cover the course, or is that dependent
Correct.
upon how many students enroll?
Nope, it's
Yeah,
by
it's not,
student.
I'm not comparing paying an Edgenuity teacher versus paying a proportionate amount for our teachers, but just actually paying for that content and paying for a teacher to teach it is more. So there'll be a rate for, like, you can have the content for this class at X number of dollars, but if you're going to use a teacher from our system that also teaches it, it's gonna be significantly more.
Any other questions at all? Lori, any questions?
I don't have any questions. I'd just like to thank Brandon for presenting this information and all the work that he's doing on this program. And thank all the teachers who are doing all the extra work, because it's a lot to put that on top of a full schedule with all the kids they see every day. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'll thank you for mentioning that. I'd like to thank my teachers too, because they're really awesome. It's super nice to talk to them face to face, or even email can be fine, but it's really nice to go, hey, what are you seeing at this student? Are they doing great? How's their work look? We have some concerns, they come talk to me. We can have those face-to-face conversations. They can show me things like, hey, I'm kind of worried about this aspect of what the student's doing. And AI plagiarism is out there. We have many discussions on that, and that's something that we run into too. But it's really nice when a teacher is right there for us to look at it together.
And that's what makes our program so different and so much better than some of the other ones that are out there.
Yes.
We have teachers who care about our students, and for the most part, they already know the kids.
Yep. Excellent. Any other questions in the room?
Yeah, I was just curious about the, if one of the few that do, the progress checks, what does that look like? It's kind of like the teachers ongoing, keeping an eye on things, or?
So
are
it's,
there
yeah, good
certain
question.
exams?
Now, everybody does progress checks and sends emails. So when we did Edgenuity before, they did that, or that do that, or we've had kids go to, like, say, other programs around the area and they have progress checks. Now there's an email and maybe call home. Well, we do it differently is every Wednesday I check on their progress, see where they're at. We have benchmarks, like say a week behind, I'll email parents, call parents, we give them, say, hey, this is what's happening. 2 weeks behind, okay, we need to now come in and work here in the schools to help you get caught up. We fall 3 more weeks behind, now we need to come back into the schools. This program's not working, so we need to, for your benefit, we need to back in. That's more kind of what it is, whereas another program might just let them go for the semester, and their actual true progress check is at the end of the semester. Did you fail? Did you pass? If you failed, well, sorry, you're not in the program anymore, but we don't want to have that happen, because that's a burden on the students and a burden on us when we have to then make those credits up for that student.
Gotcha, thanks.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for presenting. Sounds like we're on track and there's room for improvement. And we look forward to the evolution of this. Thanks. I'll let you get caught up there. You want to pull your screen back up too so we can see Dr. Grambo if we need to. All right. Thank you. All right, moving on. Item number 4, this is the petition to alter school district boundaries. This was presented 2 weeks ago at our last meeting. If anyone had the opportunity to ask any questions, I hope you did, or had the need to ask questions, I hope you did. And if there's nothing, I'll take either an approval or a motion to either approve or deny this as presented.
I'll make a motion to deny the petition to alter the school district boundaries.
All right, there's a motion by Lori to deny. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bruce. Any discussion?
Well, I'd just like to point out that this is the same situation as other properties that we have been asked to alter the boundaries for. We cannot give away our district piece by piece. It would create a situation for additional properties to be lost. The Somerset School District is quite capable of offering all the services needed by the student and currently being provided by Hudson. And the family, the Dalton family, has had a long history of very positive experiences in the Somerset School District, with both of Molly's parents graduating from the Somerset School District.
Thanks, Lori. I'll just make a comment too and say, I'm always torn because I want to make sure that we help out people that come in. If we're going to deny it, I hope we can welcome you into the district. My question was, can we provide the same service that you would get elsewhere? And it was affirmed that yes, we can. And as a fiduciary of the district, I do have to look at the tax roll and say, I can't in good faith say we can give that property away. So, with that, I have to say I support the denial as well. And I hope that you stick with us and give us a shot. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The petition will be denied. Item number 5, this is the athletic cooperative and codes of conduct. I'll start. I asked that this come to the agenda. I know there was some emails. We can't talk specifics, but there was an incident within our athletics, that involved, some players from a team, that involved a co-op. And it was news to me, there was a discrepancy in the code of conduct between the two schools. So I thought this would be a good opportunity just to make sure that the board was all aware of what happened. Obviously, again, we can't talk specifics of the incident or anyone involved, but moving forward, I'd like to know that we have a plan to fix that. So Trent, sounds like you're the guy?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm here. So anytime that you're involved with a co-op, so for us specifically in Somerset, our boys hockey team is co-op with St. Croix Falls. Our girls hockey team involves Somerset, St. Croix Falls, Amory, New Richmond, and Osceola, so that involves 5 schools. Each kid that's on that team in those co-ops, they go by the code that is written and approved by their local school district. So if a kid has a violation of their athletic code, they go by the enforcement or the rules of their local school district's code of conduct. So you could have situations where player A and player B on the same team but from different schools break the same rule and have different consequences based on what their school's code of conduct reads. One thing that we're looking to do moving forward is examine how we could have a more consistent code for the co-ops, so that way if you had that type of a situation, the consequences would be equal. You wouldn't have player A having this penalty that's this amount of games and this player B having a less amount of games. Does that make sense? So that'll be future discussion that we have with our participating co-op schools. With that, you know, one thing you always have to go with is it could not be, so let's say a kid from one of the other schools, their code was less significantly harsh or less harsh with their consequences. We couldn't just say, well, we're gonna go with that penalty if our code reads a certain number. Does that make sense? So it has to be the harsher of the two in that situation. So something that we're exploring then, to have consistency amongst the schools, at least from the co-op standpoint. We can't go to St. Croix Falls and say, hey, change your code to read this, or New Richmond and say this, because each school does theirs a little bit differently based on their individual school districts. But we could at least have a minimum to say, you're gonna follow Somerset's code with this. It just would have to be at least harsher than what the other ones were. So I guess the other way to articulate that is let's say a violation on ours is 25%, but their code is 50%, which I don't think that exists. We couldn't say, well, we're gonna go with the Somerset one, and it's actually less severe than the other schools. If that makes sense.
Okay. Dr. Grambo, anything you want to add to that?
The only thing I'd add is that whenever you look at a code of conduct, the situations that you're wrestling with, you'll always find things that could be improved and altered. So not only will we be looking at a specific code of conduct or exploring the possibility of a specific code of conduct for our co-ops, but also some adjustments to the code of conduct, which happens every year. This year will be no different. So when we bring the code of conduct back to you for approval, we will very possibly have a separate recommendation for the process that Trent just described, but also there'll be some language changes that we'll be recommending in our own code. We want to make sure that whatever the situation is, we want to be able to apply the code completely as it's written, and certain situations draw out ambiguity that you couldn't anticipate until you're dealing with the situation, and we'll continue to learn and adjust as we go.
Thanks. Yeah, you all saw the email of the incident that happened, so that's why I wanted to make sure that we had a public discussion, that they will look into it, and we'll have something to consider. You said June,
Yeah,
typically?
typically we bring our athletic code up for review in June as a first reading at the work session, and then approval at the business session in June, so it's ready to go for fall sports registration, which opens usually July 1st, because you have to when you start practices in August. So.
Excellent, I appreciate it. Any questions at all? Okay, so no changes, we'll see something later in the year. Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on, item number 6, this is policy 5451.01 and 5451.02. We looked at these, and these were presented 2 weeks ago. All we're looking for is a motion to approve these at this point. wants to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to approve 6A for the recommendation of 1 and 6B the recommendation of 1.
A motion by Bruce, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Danny, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, superintendent reports. Dr. Gramble, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I kept this intentionally short and didn't add anything to the superintendent's report because we moved the meeting early to accommodate the Fine Arts Festival. So I don't have anything separate to discuss other than I hope that anyone listening and certainly board members get a chance to go to the Fine Arts Festival. I'm sad I'm not going to be able to be there, but saw some previews and I think everyone will enjoy it. We have a lot of talented kids, so if you can get there, please get there. We're here at a school safety conference right now, so can't be there, but please do enjoy that.
Excellent. I'll just make a note, item A was a listening session. We did not hold one tonight. That was documented on the agenda, but we did not have one, so. Anything else from you, Dr. Gramble? That's it?
Nope, that's all I got.
Okay. Excellent. Item number 8, this is items for approval. These are the Neola policies that we talked about. Our meeting minutes from last meeting, we had discussed tabling policy 2464, moving it back to committee for further, analysis and consideration. We did list it on here because we had a first reading, so if somebody wanted to make a motion to move that back to committee, obviously we would approve everything but that. The only thing is, Lori, is there anything you wanted to add, Lori? She did ask.
I just want to make a motion to approve Neola policies 1A through W with the exception of G 2464, having that go back to committee. And also item 2, the adoption of the new policies A and B as presented.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve everything listed except G 2464. That would go back to committee, so no second reading on that one tonight. But the others all would have a second reading.
I'll second that.
A second by Danny. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So Jessica, you got that. 2464 will go back to committee.
Yep.
Perfect. Moving on, item number 9, consent agenda. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve any or all of these?
Make a motion to approve 9A, 1, 2, B, 1, 2, C1, D1.
A motion by Bruce. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ian. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10, general information. March 2nd will be our next meeting. That is a work session at 6 p.m. March 16th will be a regular session meeting at 6 p.m. There is a listening session 30 minutes prior at 5:30. Please, if you haven't signed up, take a look at that link, and if you can sign up to be here, that would be great. District celebrations. Would anyone like to start tonight? How about that?
I'll start.
All right, we'll start with Danny.
I would just like to congratulate Deb Cardell on her retirement, 22 years with the district. So it'll be a loss to see you go.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we'll go this way. Bruce?
Yeah, I'll second that. And then congratulations to all the, the cheer team who made the state from last weekend. And wrestlers, 2 of them made it to state, so Kurt Bailey and Vinny Peterson made it to state. Qualified last weekend, they'll be there in 2 weeks. And then the wrestling team's also going to sectionals this Saturday up in St. Clair Falls. So if you have nothing going on, go check them out there. Otherwise, that's all I got.
Ian?
Yeah, all that, and thank Luann and Jan Jacobs for their donation to the band for equipment and repairs, and the SMC for their donation to the robotics club.
Corey?
Just looking forward to the Fine Arts Festival.
Steve?
Hey, just an invitation to any families outside of our district, if they're considering a different school, think about Somerset.
Excellent, yeah, I will echo that. I'm gonna go ahead of Lori. I will echo that with our, virtual program we talked about tonight. I think there's a ton of benefit. Always room for improvement, but it's always great to highlight those things that we can cater to people outside, so. And I'll just say it's crazy to think that winter sports is wrapping up. Everything is we're that far along, so good luck to everybody that's involved in that, and then good luck to what the next sport is here as we finish out the year already. Lori?
Everything that has already been said, but also I'm disappointed I'm not gonna be able to attend the Fine Arts Festival tonight, but I am really looking forward to the musical production that's going to be in the Fine Arts Center in a couple weeks.
Fantastic. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion by Corey, is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Night.
Motion passes. Meeting's adjourned at 5:41.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Is the live stream